All right, so in the lecture series of object-oriented system design, the next lecture we are going to do is the activity diagram. So basically we are doing all the diagrams within the UML, and this particular diagram is completely based on activities, as the name suggests. Activities, here we need to understand first of all what is activity diagram all about, why do we need it, where we are going to use it, and how we are going to draw the activity diagram. Fine. So first thing is, activity diagram is the diagram which is falling under the category of behavioral diagram. So I hope you all remember the first slide which I always used to show you. That is this one. That diagram is divided into two categories, behavioral and the structural. Structural being the static and behavioral being the dynamic in nature. So this particular diagram is the activity diagram which we are going to do today. So here it lies under the category of behavioral diagram. That means it is the diagram which is dynamic in nature. So it is an important behavioral diagram in UML to describe the behavioral diagram aspects of the system. That means, see, whenever there is a particular sequence or flow of activities or actions, so actions are what? Actions are going to change according to the time. They are not going to remain same, right? So it's like according to the time, or as the time moves on, the activity or the actions are going to change. The flow of work will be going to change. That is why we are considering it as dynamic in nature, and that is why it is coming under the category of behavioral, right? Next point, activity diagram is essentially an advanced version of flowchart that modeling the flow from one activity to the other activity. Now, when you are going to see the, just a glance of activity diagram, you will just feel that it is similar, very similar to flowchart, which we have studied till date, which shows the workflow, which shows the flow of work in a specific notational format, right? So this particular activity diagram can be considered as the advanced version of flowchart here. We have certain notations which are being added to it, and we have certain options which are more provided in the activity diagram. Now, next point, activity diagram describe how activities are coordinated to provide a service which can be at different levels of abstraction. That means, see, there are a number of activities which can be considered, and we are going to see it at different levels of abstraction. Means we are going to see at different level of hierarchies. So with the examples, we are going to understand how the activity diagram describes the concept of flow of activities from one activity to the another activity, and how they are coordinated in a service, right? So this, I have told you that activity is falling under the category of behavioral diagram. Now moving further, we are going to see, in any diagram we should understand all the notations of that particular diagram. Here we are going to understand the notations of activity diagram. They are being, the first one is the activity. Now see, this activity is used to represent a set of actions. There are two things. The other one is action and the first one is activity. Now when you talk about a simple task which is being performed, that is considered to be as action, but a set of actions is considered to be as an activity. Fine. So we just show the box in activity or action, otherwise we have the kind of same format. So basically at some point of time in activity diagram, somewhere you can see the activity and action being the same, because they are considered to be as the set of actions. Okay. So this is how a rectangular box with circular edges and the name written in middle. Next one is the control flow. Now what is this control flow? Control flow is going to show you, it is kind of a link or the relation which you are going to define. It will give you the point, or it will give you the message that the flow of sequence is in which direction. right? You can see how you can understand the direction. You can understand this direction with the help of the arrow, in which direction it is moving. It can be this way, it can be this way, right? So this is what, this is showing the sequence of execution. Next one, we have object flow. Object flow is what? It shows the flow of an object from one activity to another activity. That means either the action or activity, it's one and the same thing. It is going to give you the flow of the object in the same format. Next, we have the initial node. Now, what is the initial node? Initial node is the one which is going to portray the beginning of set of actions or activities. That means it will tell you this particular circle, which is a dark circle, completely dark circle. It is going to show you that here the set of actions is being initiated. That means it is the starting, it is the initial node of the activity diagram. Before this, nothing is there, right? Next one is called as, it is also called as the precondition. You can remember it. It is also called as the precondition. Precondition. Next one, we have the activity final node. Now, as the name suggests, you can understand what is activity final node. Activity final node is the node which shows the end of the flow of actions or activities, that is represented or visually rendered with this particular sign of circle, which is hollow and shaded one, right? So here it will give you that this is the end of the diagram. It is also called as the post condition. It is also called as the post condition. So you can see that this is the precondition. That means the starting initiation of the actions or the activities, and it is the end of the activities or the control flow of the actions, right? And it is termed as the final node, and it is termed as the initial node. That is the starting and end. Now we have next one as the object node. Now what is the object node? Object node is going to tell you that a set of object flows is given from this. This is a rectangular box and it's termed as object node. Now within this we have next one as decision node. As you all know, in flowchart also we use a decision node where a diamond box is there and it can have two branches out of this. It can be yes or no. If condition, you can understand it in this way. It is kind of a if condition given in the node, which is diamond shaped box, and the two arrows are flowing out of it. It represents a test condition. If condition is a test condition is a generalized name to define the decision node to ensure that the control flow or object flow only goes down one path. That means either it will go this way or the sequence will flow this way. Let's say I have, if I am a new customer, right? If you are a new customer, the one arrow, yes, it says login or register yourself, and if it is no, then let's say continue shopping. Okay, so what it is if the customer is new, he is only going to move to the registration part, and if it is the old customer, then it is going to move to the continuation of the shopping. So that is what the decision node is defined as. It works the same way in flowchart. Next one is the merge node. Now what happens whenever the two branches are coming together and they are forming in a next decision path, that is described as the merge node. It is bring back together different decision paths that were created using a decision node. So it is coming back to the next decision path which is given from the decision node. We can see with the help of an example also in further sections. Next activity diagram notation is the fork node. What is this fork node? Fork node is the one from which the two parallel activities are flowing. That means it split behavior into a set of parallel or concurrent flows of activities. That means parallelly two activities are shown. Let's take an example of this. Example, if I have an order, online order, let's say, so there are two actions. After the order is placed, one condition is fill the order, and parallelly you have to generate the invoice. So fill the order and generate the invoice are the two parallel activities which are going to flow in concurrent way, right? So this is how it is represented. A rectangular box, and then the two nodes are coming, two control flows are coming out of it in the parallel form. Next one is the join node. Join node is just the opposite of this form. That means it brings back together a set of parallel concurrent flows of activities or actions, right? So this is defined as just the opposite way. The two control flows are coming inside a single action. So let's say there are two activities which are considering into parallel, and then they are coming together and getting merged into one node. So that is called as the join node. Next one is the swim lane and partition. Now what is this swim lane and partition? A way to group activities performed by the same actor on an activity diagram, or to group activities in a single thread. Now what does this mean is, if there's an actor and it is going to perform the activities, a group of activities in a single thread, then we are going to give it in this particular format. That means there is a rectangular box, there are two partitions, and the partitions are going to be set as the activities must be written out here, right? So these are the notations. Now let's understand the flow of a simple activity diagram. See, this one is what? This one is a black circle which is going to define as the precondition I told you, or the called as the initial node. Okay, so also remember it with the help of the name of initial node. Next one, when the flow of sequence come from the initial node, that means the actor is going to input something. Let's say I have taken an example of ordering online, right? So when the initial node is there, precondition is there, the customer is going to input something so that a step will be taken. Let's say I have given an order, I have placed an order. So that particular will initiate an action of order, placing of order. Okay. So system step is this one, that is this first step. Now it will go give you these particular sequence of flow, will give you the basic flow. These are also called as a control flow. Now when we see this particular, these are the diamond ones. What are these? These are the decision nodes, where we are going to see the two conditions and only one condition are being followed. One condition is being followed. So, and this is called as the return alternative flow. What is return alternative flow? You can see out here that it is coming from here, no, and jumping to the next section. Then step 3. Now what is this? This is the parallel activities. So this is what? This is a fork node. This is a fork node. I've shown you in the earlier slide, fork node. See, this is the one, fork node. Okay. And what is this? This is the join node. That means both of the parallel activities are coming together in one node. And last one, we have the post condition, this one, or it is also called as the final node. Okay, so these are the basic notations, and this is the one glance of a particular activity diagram in generalize, how we use it, how we work on it. Now let's take an example. We have an example of process order. See, how to start with the activity diagram is, first of all, you just understand the problem description of the application. Let's say we have process order. Okay, so problem description is what it is. Problem description related to the workflow for processing an order. First thing is, once the order is received, the activities split into two parallel set of activities. One side and sends the other order, while the other handles the billing. Fine. Next one, on the fill order side, the method of delivery is decided conditionally. Depending on the condition, either the overnight delivery activity is there or the regular activity delivery activity is being performed. Finally, the parallel activities combine to close the other. So this is a sequence of workflow we are going to write or understand before defining or before designing the activity diagram. Once we are done with this, then we can move to the visualization form of activity diagram. Such as we have said, what once the order is received, this particular will be split into two parallel activities. So we have started with the initial node. We all know how to start it. Black circle, then sequence flow, control flow is there. Then we have a rectangular box with circular edges, which is going to give the action or activity. That is, action is receive order. Now this receive order is going to divide into two parallel activities side by side. That is, one is fill order, that is placing of order, and the second one is sending invoice or generating the bill. So these two activities are done in parallel. So we have shown it with the help of a fork node. Okay. Now, after filling the order, we have to decide or we have to find out whether the delivery has to be done overnight or it has to be a regular delivery. So we have a decision box out here to decide or to test the condition. So if it is arranged overnight, then we have to rush the order, else we have to arrange the regular delivery, right? Now after these two are coming together and forming, this is called as the return. Fine, which I told you in the section here, that is returning alternative flow. This is called as the return alternative flow. You can see here. So this is what? This is return alternative flow, and these are now being merged into next set. Now at the other end, you can see we have generated the bill and then we have received the payment, and lastly we are just joining these particular two sequence, and it is called as the join node. Okay, and this was what? This was the fork node. What was this? This was the initial node. Okay, what is this? This is the decision node. This is the return one, execution return. And lastly, what we have, this is the final node, or you call it as the post condition. So well, this is how we are going to draw the diagram. I hope you must have understood it. And next we are just going to understand when to use this activity diagram, when it is important to draw the activity diagram. It is helpful whenever we are going to identify the pre and the post conditions in context of use cases. Whenever we are defining a use case, we should understand what is the pre-condition and the post-condition. Next, it helps you to model workflows between or within the use cases. Next one, it models complex workflows in operations on objects. And lastly, it models detailed activities in high-level activity diagrams. So these are the places where you can understand and can easily define the activity diagrams and can understand the complexity of activities in the level of high-level activity diagrams. That's all for this lecture. Thank you.